Look, I used to think that nothing coming out of Russia could shock me anymore, but I was wrong. This week, a Russian court sentenced 8 people to life imprisonment, accusing them of terrorism for their alleged involvement in the explosion on the Crimean Bridge in October 2022. The insanity of this case lies in the fact that all 8 of these people are completely ordinary individuals who were unknowingly used by Ukrainian special services during a sabotage operation. Let me tell you their story. My name is Dmitry Kolesev. I'm a journalist from Russia, currently living in Europe. I decided to revive this channel to practice my English and to share my perspective on important events related to Russia. If you find this video valuable, please subscribe and give it a like. The explosion on the Crimean Bridge happened on October 8, 2022, the day after Putin's 17th birthday. In a way, the attack became a grim birthday present to him from Ukrainian intelligence and armed forces. The bridge is Putin's favorite pet project. It connects the annexed Crimean Peninsula with mainland Russia and stands as a symbol of Moscow's dominance over the Ukrainian territory. Putin personally opened the bridge in 2018, and its construction was carried out by his childhood friend, Arkady Rotenberg. Early that morning, on 8th of October 2022, a truck loaded with 21 tons of explosives, disguised as rolls of some plastic film, detonated on the bridge. 3 spans collapsed, destroying about 250 meters of roadway. Fuel tanks on a passing train caught fire, and 5 people were killed. The truck driver and a family in a passing car. While the bridge was repaired, the real damage was symbolic. It was a humiliating blow to Putin's image and to Russia's sense of invulnerability. Russian security services immediately rushed to find the culprits, desperate to please his boss, Putin. But the actual organizers of the sabotage were in Ukraine, as later confirmed by Vasily Maluk, the head of Ukraine's security service. So the FSB began arresting anyone who had even the slightest connection to this cargo. One of them was Oleg Antipov, a 33-year-old entrepreneur from St. Petersburg who arranged the transportation remotely and insisted he had no idea what the cargo actually contained. He got this order from another guy and found a truck to transfer this cargo to Crimea. Another was Artur Terchanyan, the truck driver who transported the explosives for 11 days across Georgia, Armenia, and finally Russia. He's just a regular long-haul driver who takes whatever jobs he can get. Several customs checkpoints scanned the truck with special equipment in Armenia, in Georgia, and in Russia, and they found nothing suspicious. But investigators still claimed that the driver must have known what he was carrying. After delivering the cargo inside Russia, the driver didn't try to hide. Instead, he picked up a new shipment, a new order, and joined a long queue at the Russian-Georgian border. Hardly the behavior of a terrorist who has just delivered a bomb. The FSB also arrested a middleman who helped locate warehouses and trucks. Then the owners of a storage facility in Armavir, in Krasnodarsky Krai, where the rolls were transferred from one truck to another, and even a businessman who ran an online service for renting virtual phone numbers. One of those numbers was allegedly used to register a Telegram account involved in coordinating the shipment. Many of these detainees actually came to the FSB voluntarily as soon as they realized they had been somehow connected to the cargo. For example, Oleg Antipov himself went to the FSB office in St. Petersburg, where officers initially refused to take his statement. Later they thanked him for cooperating and then arrested him anyway. Others, acting on the FSB's request, rented hotel rooms in Simferopol and waited there peacefully for instructions, convinced that investigators would sort everything out. Instead, they were all detained. After several years of so-called investigation, the trial began earlier this year in complete secrecy. The public has no idea what evidence, if any, was presented by FSB prosecutors. But the lawyers and families insist that all 8 defendants are completely innocent. Russians are sadly accustomed to the fact that innocent people are often arrested. But the shock came when these 8 were given life sentences, the harshest punishment in Russia. And it was imposed on people who simply happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ukrainian intelligence openly stated that they were used without their knowledge. Why would the Russian authorities do this? Yes, of course, Russia is an authoritarian dictatorship and repression is part of this system. But repression usually follows a cold, rational logic. It aims to intimidate, to send some message. Here, the sheer, senseless cruelty is staggering. They grabbed innocent people and condemned them to spend the rest of their lives in prison. My version is simple. The FSB did this to protect itself. The explosion of Putin's favorite bridge the day after his birthday must have humiliated him deeply. And if anyone in Russia is responsible for what happened, it's the security services who allowed 21 tons of explosives to pass into Russia and onto a heavily guarded strategic structure. To save themselves, FSB leadership needed scapegoats, so they found anyone remotely related to the cargo and punished them as brutally as possible, just to show Putin they had solved the case and regained his favor. Oleg Antipov has a wife and a young son waiting for him in St. Petersburg. The other defendants also have families, wives, mothers, children. Their lives have been destroyed. For what? So that the FSB could avoid Putin's anger. None of the 8 admitted guilt, and when the verdict was announced, they shouted from the courtroom cage, "We are innocent." These are not political activists or opposition figures. They are ordinary people. They didn't protest against the war. Some of them may have even supported Putin. And the defining feature of a dictatorship is that absolutely anyone can become its victim. When democratic institutions are destroyed and the courts are no longer independent, no one is protected from the state's abuses, not even those who support the regime. This is the price people in Russia pay for living under a dictatorship. Thank you for your attention. I would be grateful for your comments, including any notes about my English, my mistakes, and my pronunciation. It will help me get better.